and welcome to our channel. We are
Die Rollin,
and if you're new to Kickstarter, welcome and please make sure you subscribe. Today we are reviewing a game called Spires End, which is a storytelling game in which you are one of 12 allies working your way through an adventure. A little bit like Scott Pilgrim Saves the World, where you are trying to work your way through the various ex-boyfriends, but this is where you've got the ally cards are basically how many you have to get you through. I pre-played this game, and my initial thoughts on this are good, but we'll save that for the end. It reminded me very quickly off the bat of a game called Time Stories. And I imagine there are other number of games.
Like Escape the Dark Castle, things like that.
It'd be interesting to compare. One of the things that absolutely strikes at me from the first back of this game is the artwork. It's incredible. It is like a black and white and red feel to it. Not a huge amount of colour, but it just really adds that some almost gothic-esque feel to it. We're going to get into some gameplay. We're not going to give you a huge amount in terms of screenshots, because I'm sure if you're watching some Kickstarter you've seen those. I don't want to give the adventure away for people, but certainly give you some preview of the cards and the card stuff now. Okay, so in order to play the game, they have provided some very nice cards that give you a very clear and easy way to go through. Navigation is simple. Effectively, you reveal the card, you read the clear instructions that are on the card, and it guides you through the story, making it very clear as to what you need to do. As you adventure through your story, you may have to roll a die, or you may have to make a decision. But as you work your way through, what's absolutely true is the path that you choose is your own. The steps are quite simple. There are 3 steps. There's an action step in which you decide what action that you want to take and how many of your hit points that you want to use. The result of your D8 die tells you how many damage that you do to that monster or that person. After you've done that, you have the opportunity to recoup back some of your health by rolling a D8. So for example, if you rolled a 7, you'd heal up +2. Plus you have secondary effects, which is maybe to cleanse, in which case you can remove a status effect. If you roll and heal up and you happen to go above and you have additional, you can add things to your boost meters. And then at the final bit, you do your upkeep phase, which is any status effects that you have, you play. You've only ever got 2 ally cards out in front of you, and obviously if you're playing this as a single person, you play ally 1, then ally 2. If you're playing with 2 people, obviously one of you's ally 1, one of you's ally 2. And then the enemy goes, they do a selection roll, which is basically decides whether it's you or ally 1 or ally 2 that's going to go. They do their action, they do their recoup, and they do their upkeep phase. And you keep doing that until one of you is dead. If your ally happens to die, then you you die when you run out of hit points, and you get a kind of like a last minute charge, and then obviously you change. But once your 12 allies have been done, your journey ends when all of your allies die, or when the story comes to its natural conclusion, and there are many. So we're going to have a quick playthrough now. What we're not going to do is show you too much, apart from the prologue card and the final Kickstarter card at the end, so that we don't give away the journey. but certainly we'll try and show you some of the game mechanics. Cool, so Will and I have set up the game. We have our Ally 1 card and we have our Ally 2 card. On the card itself, this tells you how many hit points that you have, and this tells you how many armor that you have. Your hit points you use to do actions. So obviously a lance is 0, but obviously you need to get a 5 to 8 and you only deal 1 damage. If you're feeling particularly lucky, you could potentially go for a seedling, which means you only need to deal 2 to 5, which would give you your roll damage. If you've got a 6 to 7, you deal 6, and if you did 8, you'd get 5, plus you'd get the secondary effect of cripple. Cool, so we're going to kick off. So we've taken our deck, and our deck is in number order, so we carry on. Right, so
we start off.
So, prologue. It was unusually dark before the moon was swallowed in red. Crimson light circled the dark in a bloodshot raven's eye. The ground shook, and something unimaginable bore out of the earth. It tore through the town with ungodly force. The streets filled with fumes, and the townsfolk fell into a deep, unnatural sleep. The strong, frail, and innocent all disappeared under the red eclipse. The spire stood there in silence. At its base was a door left ajar.
Ooh.
Reveal card 2.
Will paint this place in their blood, sweat, piss, and tears.
You wake horrified, gasping for air. Your heart is pounding, and you're covered in dust and debris. You unearth yourself and climb to your feet. A monstrous foreign object spirals above you, like the horn of a giant deity attacking the heavens. A quick glance reveals endless mounds of wreckage in every direction. It's strangely silent, and you see no one about. You head off through the destruction to find your uncle, your living last relative. Thankfully, his cottage is outside of the spire's wake, untouched. He left you a note. I know you will come looking for me. Don't. I deeply regret what I've done, but during this incident, I hid. Then I ran away like a whimpering dog. In truth, I'm a coward, crippled by fear. You're strong, courageous, everything I'm not. That's why you must go. I suspect those missing are being held captive in that spire. Mount a rescue, find them, free them. I am proud of the person you become. You must remain strong. I fear many hardships and horrors lie ahead. Know that shame has clawed through my soul. I won't survive long. I've made sure of that. But before I go, I have some knowledge I need to pass on.
Cool. And then it gives you a nice recommendation.
It's highly recommended that you review the instructions deck at this stage, otherwise reveal card 3. And the instructions deck is effectively the cards that we showed earlier. So we're going to jump into the game and not spoil any of the story after this point, but we may show you a couple of monsters so you get a feel of how combat. So we just pulled out the Dormant Setup card, which is the card after the text. What's really useful about this game, as the first few cards do, is they are guiding you through how the game works. So what's really cool here is the doorman, which is this guy here, is telling you how you need to set it up. So we need to put our hit points and our armor points markers on. So he has 10 hit points, and he has 4 armor points, which are these grey markers here. And obviously, as we stated before, here are our 2 allies. Dane the Rutterkin. This is Will, he is ally number 1, and Rolf the Kill Cow, and he is ally number 2. So what's going to happen is Will, being ally number 1, he is going to decide to do his first action. So what is your first action going to be?
My first action is I think I'm going to start with a bloodlet, I think, just do a 2, middle ground, try and deal some decent damage off the bat.
So you spend 2
of my health, and
Cool.
then
So you'll roll your d8.
I got a 3, which gets me 3 damage in result.
Cool. So you take off 3 off his armor.
Sorry, yeah, that one.
Armor always first.
Yeah.
Cool. Brilliant. And you now have the opportunity to roll to recoup. So you need to roll your d8.
So I've got a 7 on that.
So a 7
Gets me 2.
So you get all your.
So I'm back to full again.
Awesome. Sorry, it's annoying me.
Oh, sorry.
Put it on
That's fine.
Put it on the card. So that's great. So you've had your opportunity to go. There is no after effects that you need to worry about at this stage. My turn. So I'm going to go next. So I have got only 5 hit points, which means that I'm fairly limited in what I can do. So this is not a particularly strong ally. But I'm going to go straight off the bat. I'm going to spend 3 and I'm going to go for snappers. So I'm going to roll my d8.
It's a 2.
And that's only a 2. And because I need you to get 3 to 4, and I didn't do that, then I get no attack. That's frustrating, but I do get an opportunity to recoup. And that is a 7. So my 7 gives me 2 of those back. As it currently stands, there are no after effects, so that's no problem. The only issue is this guy gets to go first. So to determine whether he's going to attack ally number 1 or ally number 2, we're going to roll the d8. And it is an 8. So 1 to 4 would have been this guy here, and 5 to 8 is this guy here. So he's going off the bat and he's going to attack me.
Okay.
So in order to determine which one of these that he is going to do, he is going to turn over this and he's going to do a 2. Show that the right way around. And that is he's going to stab my guy. So he's going to roll, and unfortunately he only got a 1, so nothing happens there. But he did, because he did that, he did have to spend
2 health, including does he lose his armor as well? He's got 1 armor left.
No, it's
just
2
health
bodies
directly.
health.
Okay.
Yeah. After that, he gets an opportunity to recoup, so we'll roll. He has a 7, so he can heal up 1. So he's got now been, so it's now your opportunity as ally number 1, and you get to go again.
Cool. So I'm going to do the same again, since that did all right last time. So I'm going to spend 2 health to use Budlet again, and then roll the dice. And I got a 3 again, which means I do 3 damage. So he uses his last armor
And
to
take 2
health.
off there.
And then I get to roll again to recoup.
Yeah.
And this time I get a 7 again, which means I get my health back, which is perfect.
Cool, so it's my opportunity to go. So I have 4 health. I didn't do very well on snappers last time, so I'm going to try a slice for 2. And I roll, and I got a 3. So because I did a slice and it is 3 to 5, I do 3 damage. 1, 2, 3.
Nice.
So obviously this guy's not doing very well right now, and we're looking pretty good from an armor point of view, but my health is not great. So let's see if I can do an opportunity to recoup here, and I got a 7, which means I'm going to get 2 back. So moving forward, he now gets his opportunity to attack us. Obviously we're going to determine whether it's ally 1 or ally 2. It's a 1, so it's going for this guy, Dame Rutterkin, ally 1. We're going to pull out this card here. It's free, so he's doing a puncture for 3.
Yep.
And now we need to roll the dice. And that is 4. So he does 1 damage, but you take that from the armor. He has an opportunity to recoup, which is a 4, which gives him one of those back, which is unfortunate for him, and a winner for us. And we're going to go one more time, hopefully. So what are you going to do?
I'm going to...
Big finish? Rusty slice?
Does it show 4? Shall I do it for 4?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's go 4. Let's just destroy it.
So anything other than a 1?
I got an 8.
You got an 8.
Which is 5 damage.
5 damage.
And a bleed. It's a bit overkill.
A bit overkill, but this guy is now dead. Which is great, fantastic, we've done that. Now, at the end of combat, you have the opportunity to, you then restore all your health and you restore all your armour. And we carry on with the adventure. Welcome back. Well, you haven't really gone anywhere, but welcome back. So our journey has ended with Spires End, but we're hoping for you this is going to begin. So this is a Kickstarter, this is a preview pack, so it is pretty close, or as close to the final game as you're going to get. We've just played through chapter 1 of we think is about 12 chapters. It took around 30 to 40 minutes to run through the path that we took, but I suspect that actually it could take slightly longer or less if we were just sort of equally filming and trying to get those in. First thoughts, Will?
In first thoughts, I'm really impressed with the amount of detail that's gone into it. There's a lot of choices going through this path. You've got a lot of variety in terms of decisions, in terms of your health, and I like the combat mechanic in terms of like how you fight to get you lose health before you regain it back up. And I do like that sort of balance. Really, do you want it's a nice, good risk and reward, because you may end up being hit by a really powerful enemy, but you may have that one powerful attack that you want to get rid of them and get on to the next part of the story.
And certainly when we were attacking the twins, which is a monster, further into the game, we had to lose 1 or 2 allies to complete that monster, because it is risk and reward. You are obviously trying to put more health points in to obviously get better attacks and more chance of an attack, and obviously greater damage. But if you can't recoup enough, then obviously when your armour dwindles and you haven't got enough hit points, obviously that ally is going to die. You've only got 12 allies in the game, so if you think there are 12 chapters, we burnt through 3 in the first chapter, then actually that makes it quite a strategic game, and moving your way through that story. One of the things that hung out for me was the fact that the story for the first chapter anyway was really well thought out. It really sort of took you along, and so I like the fact that you had 2 different decision making processes, one that you made yourself and another that you had that you roll the dice, and that added that random element in. So you were semi-forced to play in a certain way, but there was also that sort of that's random dynamic. So we mentioned a couple of other games earlier before, and how you're more of a card game person than I am. So how do you think they compared?
Well, in terms of, if you compare it to say Escape the Dark Castle is a good example of this, but in this one is more in depth in terms of a solid, rigid story, whereas you've got in Dark Castle still has that element of story, but has got that ability of shuffling through the cards and going through that, but this one adds a bit more of a strategy focus over the others, which adds a bit more randomness and gives you a fun story to play, and it's a bit more casual, whereas this one's you can see getting out and being a bit more in depth and trying to think your way through and strategize your next move.
I compared it to Time Stories because it has that, and one of the big things that stand up about a game like Time Stories is that you really sort of invested in the story itself, and you're trying to there's lots of places to go and understand. But actually, in some respects, it's actually better than Time Stories because there's a much deeper storytelling element to this game. One thing that I did find and did have the potential to worry me was replayability a little bit. That doesn't mean that it doesn't have that, because you think that there's one chapter that we've got that we play today. There are 12 chapters likely to be in the Kickstarter, and I suspect that there will be expansions to this game coming out. So I think unless you're going to play it every day for 2-3 months, I don't think you're going to truly struggle with replayability. So, certainly maybe the first couple of chapters might get a bit boring, but as you get further through, I suspect.
It's like us, because we would, if we played it again, we might choose a different path rather than defeating the enemy and taking all the stuff and missing a bunch of chapters because of a unlucky dice roll. We may end up getting somewhere else in another route and play a few more of the cards that we missed.
And certainly the allies in themselves, some are stronger, some are weaker. So you don't pick your allies, they're randomly dealt to you. You only have 12, so you do have those 12, but you don't know when they're going to come out. So if you start the game off with 2 exceptionally strong allies, you may lose them as the game goes on, and as you get your way, work your way through, you may end up with less allies. The other thing I quite like about this game is because you're turning cards over and you're moving through, you do have the ability to pause it at any time. So it's a sort of game that you can pick up, play, pause, put away. And I hope when the Kickstarter comes out that they thought about that, so that the whatever it comes in gives you that opportunity to save the game, because it certainly doesn't feel like it's going to be a particularly short game if you're playing all the chapters.
I don't see it too much of a hard thing that they could implement. It could be just a simple double divide that you can do, or just stick a bit of card in between the cards as you go through.
So that's our view on the game. For me, I'm certainly looking forward to the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be another one of those games that I want to put on my shelf.
And as you're putting it on your shelf, that means I don't have to back it and I won't be in trouble. But certainly for me, it's one that isn't my style of game. As you know, if you're regular viewers of this channel, I'm not particularly a huge card game fan, but I do like storytelling games. And I really like the storytelling aspect of this game. And for that, that's really drawn me in, and I've been able to ignore the card element of the game. So certainly, massive thumbs up from me.
Yeah, and a big thumbs up for me as well.
If you're undecided, my suggestion is back this on Kickstarter. It looks like a terribly exciting game, and it certainly is very different from a lot of the other pedestrian games that you find on Kickstarter. So
we are Die Rollin.
Make sure you catch us on our social media channels, which include
Facebook.
Yes.
Not Twitter.
Yes.
But you can find Adam on Twitter.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And Instagram.
And if you want to subscribe to our channel, especially if you're new, please do. And if you want those notifications, please ring that bell.
Ding, ding, ding.